We're heading into week number 3 in the fantasy football season. We are understanding a little bit more about what these guys are, so maybe now's the time to find some gold out there in the fantasy football waiver wire. So let's give it a go with this week's fantasy football waiver wire picks. All right, fantasy football week number 3 is here. Already feels like the season's going too fast. It needs to slow down. But admittedly, like there isn't that, oh my god, run to the waiver wire to get this guy out there just yet. But let's run through all the positions. We will start at quarterback, and I think the play here is Geno Smith. He is 32% owned, which means we're rocking, 68% available. Try to go around 35%. He falls into that category. Everyone here does this week, actually. I think Washington's defense can be exploited a little bit. The Packers definitely showed that. Now the Raiders are not to the Packers. They're certainly closer to the Giants than they are the Packers, but I think we saw on Monday that there is at least a functioning offense there in Las Vegas, and they can actually do a couple of things. I thought Geno looked really good at times, so I like Geno Smith as a pickup if you are needy this week, and there are probably some needy teams out there. So go out and make that pickup at quarterback. At wide receiver, there's 3 that I'm looking at. Wan'Dale Robinson is up first, 23% owned, 18 targets in the last 2 weeks. It's a tough match against Kansas City this week for sure, but he is still getting a ton of volume in a Brian Daboll offense. And I know we had concerns about that last week. It looks like we maybe bounced back a little bit there this week, but I still think that volume is going to be there. And he is obviously a receiver that Russell Wilson trusts in this offense. Next is DeAndre Hopkins at 9% owned, only 2 targets. But he is a red zone threat. He has scored in both of his games, and he has been able to, I think, return a lot of value and just kind of make the most of his opportunities. So I still think he is worth a bit of a shot right now at receiver. And then Kevontae Turpin at 4% owned. Just he had 6 touches last week. They're working on getting him the ball. I believe it was 4 touches the week before. He is a bit of a explosive speed dynamic that not a whole lot of this roster has. So I know Pickens had the big overtime, but I think Turpin is someone that can very much provide a bit of a spark for that offense and is someone who has that big play potential that you want in fantasy football. Next, at running back, Tyler Allgeier, still just 30% owned, 26 carries in the first 2 weeks. He is a strong runner. He's part of a pretty good offense, and it's a great matchup against Carolina this week. So I think Tyler Allgeier is absolutely someone that shouldn't qualify for this list of owned in less than 35% of leagues. And Justice Hill, 3% owned. If you're desperate, it's 6 touches last week. And again, this game against Detroit should be a wild one, which is why I'm liking Hopkins and I'm liking Justice Hill in this. And then at tight end, this one we're chasing a little bit, but Jatavion Sanders, 2% owned with Carolina, 9 targets last week. Again, feels like we're chasing, but tight end's pretty soft right now. I think he can provide a lot, or at least a bit of a spark for you in fantasy. And then for streaming defenses, we got a couple. Seattle at 26% owned. They're facing New Orleans this week. It is a legit good defense against a legit pretty bad defense, or offense, in New Orleans. So I think this is a really good opportunity for Seattle to really put a stamp on what they can do on the defensive side of the football. And then Atlanta, they're 2% owned going up against Carolina. I think Atlanta's got a pretty strong defense, and Carolina struggled when that game was still in doubt. So we will see if Atlanta can avoid some of the garbage time issues that Arizona had against Carolina last week. So those are the waiver wire pickups that I would suggest coming out of week number 2.